2015 was a significant year for ASEAN, in economic terms at least. The establishment of the ASEAN Economic Community, or AEC, was a major milestone in its agenda for economic integration. With a collective GDP of over $2.6 trillion and a population of over 620 million people, ASEAN is the third largest economy in Asia and the seventh largest in the world. The AEC offers huge opportunities for economic growth and development for individual member nations and together as a region.
While the potential of the AEC for economic growth and development is immense, there are also significant challenges for the integrated economic community as a whole and as individual member nations. One challenge is in the diversity of its economies and the disparate stages of economic development of each member nation.
From labor-intensive activities such as farming, simple manufacturing, to high-tech sectors such as biotechnology, research and design, the diversity of the economies and levels of economic growth of each member nation is significant. In order to meet the developmental goals of individual ASEAN member nations, the role of education, particularly in building up the skills of the workforce, is increasingly important, says an ASEAN researcher.
Building capacities, knowledge, so that the growth trajectory of a country can be moved forward and sustained by successive generations. We see this in the context of how education can also help build skills, not just through the usually envisioned trajectory of moving from primary to secondary to tertiary to a university degree, but also in the importance of technical and vocational skills that are also important to support economic development initiatives and projects in a country. And globally, what the world has been witnessing is, of course, this mismatch, this increasing mismatch in educational qualifications with the type of skills that are required in the job market. And in ASEAN countries, there are also many conditions of vulnerability in the job market because of the existence of the informal sector and, of course, where do young people fit in, finish their education and enter the job market. So education does have an important role in building up the skills of all these young people to have an active part in the economic development and progress of not only their countries, but also part of that whole economic integration exercise that ASEAN is moving for.
To be ready for regional economic integration, individual ASEAN countries need to raise the qualifications and skill sets of their workforce to enable them to participate actively in the regional and global economy. In Singapore, the government has invested significantly in technical and vocational education, as well as the continuous upgrading of the skills of its workforce, with schemes such as Workfare and Skills Future that support its citizens to continually upgrade their skills for the new economy.
A strong economy, therefore, needs capabilities. You need the entrepreneurs, but you also need a skilled workforce. And if we give our workforce skills, we'll enable them to hold better jobs, earn better pay. We are preparing our students well for the new economy, equipping them with relevant skills which are in demand. Our polys and ITE offer courses in digital media design, and lots of these students intern at film studios like Ubisoft, Bandai Namco, Blizzard, Lucasfilm. Eventually, some of them work there. There are also other courses to train horticulturalists, food scientists, sports scientists, all sorts of new jobs which a generation ago didn't really exist.
And analysts have observed that despite efforts by individual countries to develop the skill sets of their workforce, it is imperative that a national skills framework be set up in each country, leading towards the establishment of an ASEAN skills recognition framework. Regional accreditation of skill sets will make it easier for workers of varying skill levels to move across national borders and find jobs within the region. In addition to national development of their own workforce, efforts have also been made between ASEAN countries to help each other level up.
For example, in the area of technical and vocational education, Singapore and Myanmar have this bilateral program where Myanmar's technical and vocational institutes, which declined during the socialist years and under the military government, have now been given a fresh breath of life. And Singapore is providing that necessary knowledge and capacity transfer, even in terms of helping out with setting the curriculum for technical and vocational education in Myanmar, so that ultimately this will also add to Myanmar's active participation in regional integration, particularly regional economic integration.
United we stand, divided we fall. Besides building capabilities of the workforce and developing and promoting technical and vocational skills, competency standards and guidelines, the spirit of working together and supporting each other is ultimately the cornerstone for success for ASEAN integration. It exemplifies the true spirit of ASEAN as a grouping, as a community.